Hey everybody, Attorney Walter Rudolph Hnot III. We'll be going live now on YouTube to go ahead and begin the process for running questions with people. So just a quick heads up, we are running a little bit late. It is 9 minutes past when we normally start. So we'll get right to the bottom line of how this actual session will go. So first couple of things that you need to know basically about this. We're going to be going over a couple of things. Specifically, the first thing we're going to be going over would be the section of vocational experts. And what are vocational experts? What are hypotheticals? What are the different levels of work and things like that? I've been getting a lot of things. So also, guys, let me know if, let me know if everything okay on your end. I'm going to do the pop-out chat thing, and I'll put the phone number there for those who want to call in. There we go. Okay, so howdy, guys. Perfect. Howdy. Okay, excellent. So first thing I want to go into when it comes to Social Security disability benefits, I have a hearing coming up, and judge that is hearing my cases from a different state. Is this common? So yeah, Blondie, that's pretty common at this point because most people are not opting out of doing what's called a VTC. A VTC is a video teleconference hearing. A video teleconference hearing is where you go into a tiny, itty-bitty, ridiculously small room. Usually, sometimes they put you in the big room. And basically, you'll be sitting in front of a computer screen, and the judge will be talking to you through that computer screen. And the judge will have the ability to move a camera 365 degrees with zoom capacity so that the judge can look at you. So what you need to know is basically that this is very common now. There are a couple of states that have a lot of people in particular, but there is one national hearing office where very likely your ALJ is from. So, Blondie, if you want to call in, here's the phone number. I'll go ahead and run questions with you as if it were a hearing. That way you're pretty much good to go. So, while I'm waiting for phone calls for people to call in, and I'm sorry I started late. I just, life is life. But what I want to do is go through basically how vocational experts work. So let's begin with the very basics, because a lot of people think they know what the purpose of a vocational expert is, how they're always part of a hearing and things like that. Way back in the day, 20, 30 years ago, they didn't use vocational experts that much. In fact, most of the very, very old judges, they don't even use vocational experts. They just don't have them as part of the hearing process. As time continues to go on, vocational experts and medical experts are showing up more and more and more as part of the adjudication process. Vocational experts have become, at this point, a standard. Yes, hearings are all by telephone right now through August, and basically they're starting to schedule for October, and October is even looking like potentially those are going to be as well telephonic. But for right now, it's just August, up into and including that. So with all that said, vocational experts are human beings that study texts, big books. Now they're all online, but they're basically books of jobs and what the jobs have as per limitations and what the jobs require. They might be reasoning 5 or, reading level 6 or, whatever. They have all these broken down little numerics that equate to a person's ability to actually do that job. The most used book of all of these would be basically the DOT. So what is the DOT? The DOT is the Dictionary of Occupational Titles. Why is the DOT relevant to all this stuff? So the DOT is relevant because it has a massive, ginormous list of all the different jobs that exist in the national economy. And so what they do is the SSA has to look at these jobs and see if any of these jobs are similar to what you did. Now, I know what you're sitting there thinking. You're thinking, how could there be a book that has all the different jobs out there that people could potentially do? So I'm getting a phone call right now. Hi, this is Attorney Walter Hnot. How can I help you? Oh, hold on. Hi, this is Attorney Walter Hnot. How can I help you? Excellent. So, madam, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put you on speakerphone. Just keep in mind, use a fake name like you're using. And also, there's no attorney-client privilege. And throughout this process, I'm going to go ahead and ask you questions, go through details. Now, do you want me to just run questions with you as if it were like a hearing situation, or do you have specific questions about the upcoming hearing? Okay, perfect. All right, so I'm going to go ahead. I'll put you on speakerphone. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk you through what happens with video teleconference hearings. And I'm going to walk you through physically how it actually goes. So now, are you going to a building? Because you should be only doing a telephonic hearing.
Yes, they said it may. Well, when I talked to my attorney, they said that they were having at that time we were going to maybe do in-person hearings, but now with the COVID-19 flaring up again, I don't know what it's going to be.
Okay, so this is very likely to be a telephonic hearing. So I'm just going to walk you through the details of what makes telephonic hearings unique, and then I'm going to go straight into the questions. That way we can, keep it rolling. But the first thing you need to know about these COVID-19 hearings is that you are usually the last person to be called of the group phone call session. So basically, the clerk of the judge will call the judge. The clerk of the judge will call the vocational expert. The clerk of the judge will call the attorney, and then you are usually last to go on the line. When you get on the line, the judge will say, okay, are you present? You'll say, yes, I'm present. Then the judge will be reading out a lot of little details to you. The judge will say, okay, go on the record, and then the judge will kind of read to you a bunch of the introduction-based stuff. But there's a couple of main things you need to know right up front. The judge will first say, hey, look, you need to be in a separate room away from everybody for your privacy rights. So he'll say, okay, are you that? You'll say yes. Then the judge will say, okay, now walk me through. Are you recording this? Because the only person who's allowed to record this is me, the judge. And then you'll say, no, I'm not recording this. And then you'll go ahead and go into the usual intro stuff. The judge will say, okay, attorney, put your name on the record. Okay, go ahead. Walk me through. Are there any outstanding records? Do you have any objection to the exhibits? Do you have any objection to yada, yada, yada? You'll get past all that stuff, and then you'll actually begin the hearing process, which is the questioning of the claimant. So are you ready to go ahead and begin the questioning of the claimant?
Yes.
Okay, remember to use a fake name. Madam, can you go ahead and state your full name for the record?
Blondie Smith.
Excellent. Can you walk me through your left-handed or right-handed?
Right-handed.
Date of birth and current age?
9/15/64 to 54. 55.
55. Okay, excellent. Now, can you tell me, how long ago did you apply for disability benefits?
Almost, it'd be 2 years in November.
Almost. Oh, so 2 years? Okay, excellent. So help me out with this. When it comes to your impairments, what are your top 5 impairments?
Chronic back pain, spinal stenosis. I have migraines. I got diagnosed with skin cancer on my wrist, which, but it's mostly the chronic back pain, spinal stenosis. I have a spinal stimulator in my back.
Mm-hmm.
It's mostly on my lower back, my lower left side, and then it goes over to my right, and my foot goes numb.
Okay. So I didn't hear any mental impairments. I'm hearing a lot of back impairments. Are there any mental impairments?
No.
Okay. So with your back, you mentioned a couple of details. Can you tell me, out of all of those, which is the most severe?
My back.
Where on your back?
My lower left side, and it goes down into my leg. It goes down to close to my knee, and then it skips from my knee. It goes down to my left foot.
Mm-hmm.
My left foot will be numb at times, like it is right now.
Mm-hmm.
Then at times it goes over into my right foot. My right foot will be numb.
Okay.
And then sometimes even my the lower right side of my lower back also.
Okay. So help me out with this. It sounds like lower back, sounds like lumbosacral into the hips, and then down the buttocks, into the thighs, into the knees, things like that. So tell me this. You said you get this numbness. How often per month do you have numbness in your feet?
I have it. Oh, how often? What was that question again? I'm sorry.
Yeah. So basically what I'm looking for is how often per month do you have numbness in your feet? Are we talking about like once a week, or are we talking about like once a month?
I have it all the time. It's pretty well off and on all the time.
Okay. Quantify for me all the time, because that's important.
I don't know, 23 hours, I guess. When I lay down at night, it's numb. Like right now I'm sitting and it's coming numbish. or it'll go tingling. It's just always there. It comes in.
Okay, she obviously gets the numbness. It must not because she's able to sleep because she has it for 23 hours a day. So if she's able to sleep and she has it for 23 hours, then it must not be that bad. It must not be bothering her as a painful effect. So let me ask you this. When it comes to this numbness, do you have a walker? Do you have a cane? Do you have a crutch?
I have a cane. Yes, I do. I have a disability permit for my car. I have a back brace. I'm on hydrocodone. I'm on tramadol. Like I said, I have a spinal stimulator that was installed in my back in 2012. And it worked for a while, but now I would have to constantly keep going on and getting it reprogrammed that it just doesn't work anymore. And I need to get it yanked out because I can't have any MRI.
So let me ask you this. You're having these issues. Are you married? Do you live with other people? Are there people in your house?
Yes, I'm married.
Okay. Is it a house? Is it a yeah?
It's a house.
Okay. Is it a 1-story or 2-story house?
It's a 1-story.
Okay. Is there a 1-prong or a 4-prong cane?
One.
How often do you use the cane per week?
Excuse me, I didn't hear that.
How often do you use the cane per week?
I use it every day when I get up.
Every day when
I'm
you get up.
walking around.
Okay.
Yes.
So now tell me this, you're using it to walk around. Do you ever fall down? Do you ever have issues with the numbness in your legs where it's to the point where you can't stand?
I have fallen once, but I haven't here. No, I've fallen once, but I haven't. No.
Okay. So well, walk me through this. Do you use the cane with your dominant hand or your non-dominant hand?
With my dominant hand.
Okay. And tell me this, with the house, how many steps to go into it?
There's no steps.
When you go grocery shopping, can you tell me, do you usually use a cart or do you just kind of, use the smaller carts that you hold around your hand?
Well, if I do go grocery shopping, what I do is I try to lean on a cart if I can find, I get a shopping cart and I lean on it. So a lot of times I just order my groceries over the internet and pick them up that way. My husband will help get them. I used to get out and walk all the time and stuff like that. I can't even do that now.
So you used to be able to walk a lot. How long was that? Was that a year ago? Was that a little more?
Oh, that's been probably since about 2012.
2012. Okay. So help me out. How far do you think you could walk if you wanted to walk, a distance?
Oh, I'm not very good with feet. Probably, I couldn't even make it out the front door to my mailbox without it just killing me. And it's not that far of a distance. I don't know. I couldn't even walk a half a mile or not even a block.
Okay. So what is a block to you? How many feet is that?
Oh, I'm not good with numbers. I'm sorry.
Okay, that's
I'll have to get that. I mean, I couldn't even walk probably half. I couldn't do it without my cane. I have to have my cane. But if I was to do some walking, I'd have to stop and rest several times. And by the time I got back, I would be just totally wore out. And I'd have to go lay down and probably put a heating pad on.
Okay. So help me out. You use a heating pad? Do you use any other orthopedic-based devices? Any other, medications that are applied? Anything like that? Yeah.
Yeah, I use a heating pad. I use biofreeze. I have some pouches. I use them. Like I said, I have a brace. I use, I think it's biofreeze and some other, stuff that you rub on. Just whatever I can try to get that will help. Of course, the colder weather makes the pain worse too.
Okay. So help me out. There are things in the environment that usually make things worse for people and their impairments. There are things that we call environmental restrictions. And environmental restrictions are things like, for example, extreme cold, extreme heat, vibrations, loud sounds, pulmonary irritants, bright lights. What in the environment causes you to have
Well, of course, the cold weather makes my pain worse. And then I have migraine headache and now makes my migraine. When I was working, I'd have coworkers would come in and they'd have perfume on, and I'd get a whiff of it, and I would get a debilitating migraine, a chronic headache. Mm-hmm. And I'd have to, go home, or I'd go to the supervisor and ask them to please tell them not to wear the, cologne. And that was always a problem with, workforce. I'm retired now. I just retired the world. It took about 2 years ago. Mm-hmm. And because people don't understand that the colder weather and the smells do bother my migraines.
Okay. So help me out with this. You currently live in Florida or somewhere else?
I live somewhere else.
Okay, and give me the state where you live. Okay, so in Texas, walk me through this. How far away is the grocery store from where you live?
Oh, about maybe 5-7 miles.
Okay, and what do you drive to get there?
I have a 2017 Hyundai Elantra.
Okay, is it easy to get in and out of considering your back issues?
Yes, it's pretty easy. And I've got the heated seats, which even in the summertime I use them. If I go to the doctor and stuff like that. Yes, okay. That helps.
Okay. So you've got these back issues. They limit your ability to walk. Tell me about your past work. What was the last job that you worked?
I worked for a state agency. I was a clerk there, a nursing clerk. Mm-hmm, sure. And I had to, I had issues with that because I had to unbox supplies, medical supplies, and then I worked on the computer, did timekeeping and things like that.
Okay. And why did you stop working there?
Well, I was eligible to be able to retire, and my health got to the point I couldn't. My back was bothering me so much that I decided I'd better go ahead and retire. Okay. Because I had my time in to where I could.
Okay. So help me out with this. You retired from there. Did you obtain a letter from your prior employer as to the difficulties that you're having while working there?
No. Mm-mm.
Okay.
But I have gotten some letters from my primary care doctor and stuff. He's very supportive.
Okay. Excellent. Can you tell me, what is the medical term that best describes the most severe impairment that you have?
Chronic severe pain.
One more time?
Chronic severe pain.
Okay. So you have chronic pain. You have it in multiple areas. So you've got arthropathy. Walk me through this, though. What is the most severe impairment that you have? Because chronic pain is the result of an impairment. What is the actual impairment?
My back?
Yes. So what about your back? Degenerative disc disease? Is it spinal stenosis?
Yeah, well, I've done MRIs back before. I've got a straight, let's see, what is it called? I know I had a disc. It all started out, years ago, I had this job where I was driving all over Texas. And then I always had kind of back issues. Then my back started hurting after that. And I went in for injections and stuff like that. And they didn't help. I went and saw my doctor. Went in and to an orthopedic surgeon. And I had my L5 disc was herniated out. So I went and had surgery on that. And he cleaned it up. But it doesn't get the job together because it was too thin.
Okay.
And I was free for about a month, and then the pain came back. Then I went back to having injections again, went to pain management. You name it. I went, had this done, had, chiropractic. I've been through it all. And I even stopped working and was just working a little bit of part-time trying to get something, done for my back. And then that's when they finally put the spinal stimulator in my back.
Okay. Spinal stimulator hasn't been working for how long?
Oh, probably. I'm trying to. 3-4 years probably.
Okay, 3-4 years. So walk me through this. You've had it for that long. Why didn't you have it pulled out? And remember, I'm looking for you to tell me about health insurance.
Well, at that time, it just health insurance wise, the premium and everything, I just didn't have the money.
Okay. So walk me through this. So you had it put in. It has been working for years. You haven't been able to get medical imaging of that particular area. So you have no current medical imaging, correct?
Last ones I've had was back up until I've had CAT scans, but that's about it. I haven't had any MRIs. No, not lately.
Okay. So walk me through this. You've had this going on. What are the doctors currently saying about your impairment when it comes to your back?
Well, the doctor the back doctor that put it, they say it's failed back surgery. I went back into when I kept having problems with my back, even after I had my stimulator. That doctor just kind of threw his hands up. Basically don't know what else to do.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And so I'm just, until I can, and now with this COVID-19 and everything, if I can ever get my, get the Social Security through, then I can get the stimulator taken out,
mm-hmm.
and maybe get some additional help. But I can't continue living like this.
Okay. So help me out with this. You've basically had this issue for an extended time. How many years ago did you stop working?
I stopped working August 31st, 2018.
2018. Okay. So you've had surgeries. The surgeries have failed. You've had imaging. You're not getting a lot of updated imaging other than what you said. But help me out with this. It seems like you had these back issues and you were still working for quite some time.
I just had to push myself because I knew I had that date to where I was eligible to retire, and that's what I was working towards, to see if I could make it to that date.
Okay.
And I was going to see if I could make it to that date. If I didn't get any better, then I was going to go ahead and retire. I would like to go, it would be nice to like to continue to work, but I just can't do it.
So correct me if I'm wrong. You stopped working because you wanted to retire, correct?
Well, I was eligible to retire, and because, like I said, it got to the point they were putting so much stuff on me with lifting. I was having to lift these boxes of gloves, cases of cups, cases of all these medical supplies, and this little storage room, unbox them, take them out, put them up, and all that. That was one of my main responsibilities, but it was killing my back. I would wear a back brace, and that was my job.
Okay. So help me out with this. What's the heaviest that you think you could lift nowadays?
Excuse me, I didn't. What was that?
What's the heaviest that you think you could lift nowadays?
Maybe 5 pounds.
Maybe 5 pounds? What's something that weighs 5 pounds?
Something that weighs 5 pounds.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Well, I can lift some tea, or a thing of tea. I have to be kind of careful. It's kind of heavy. But stooping over, I can't. It's hard doing that. But it's the reaching up and stuff like that kills my back.
Okay, but what do you think? Give me some examples of things that weigh 5 pounds.
Oh man. I don't know. Like milk? No, milk wouldn't. Would that be a gallon of milk? No. I'm kind of lost.
And then when it comes to the weight of something, if you're saying I can only lift 5 pounds, you better know what's directly above 5 pounds. You better know what's 5 pounds. And you better know what's directly below 5 pounds to be able to describe what they are. Because right now you're saying 5 pounds, and I know right off the bat you have no idea what 5 pounds is, which is not good.
No.
Yeah.
No, okay. No, gotcha.
So a gallon of milk is 8 or 9 pounds. That's the standard because you want to be able to lift less than 10 pounds continuously. And remember, every time you tell me about walking, every time you tell me about standing, sitting, and or laying down, if you're talking about those things and you have to shift, right? So I can only walk this far and then I have to take a break, or I can only sit this long and then I have to stand up, or I can only stand this long and then I have to sit down. You have to put an additional statement on the end of that, which is, I can only do these things where I rest 3 times in a day before I'm done for the entire day. Otherwise, in theory, you could keep repetitively doing those things at a job and you'd be basically able to go ahead and do that job.
Okay, gotcha. Okay. Yeah, I've got, like I said, I've got all my records, my scans, all that. And I went in here a few months ago to a pain management doctor just because it was over the winter time, I got hurt so bad that I called my primary care doctor and I was just like, I can't take this anymore. Just send me to a, pain clinic, another pain clinic. And, they didn't know what to do either. They just did this failed back surgery and just kind of threw their hands up.
Okay. How many failed surgeries have you had in your back?
Well, let's see. I had the one that the first doctor did where he went in there to repair that disc. And then they did the trial for the stimulator. And then they did and then they put the spinal stimulator in. And then it dropped. So then they had to go back in and do a revision on it because my back was such a mess when they put the stimulator in. I was awake and they were cramming that thing down my spine and hollering. And they decided that during the revision they weren't going to torture me this time, so they knocked me out and put a paddle in my spine this time.
Okay. Help me out with this. So now, from your understanding, do they still install those spinal stimulators into people for the most part?
As far as I know, they do, yes.
Okay. So just so you know, they've highly limited going ahead and installing those in people because they've had a lot of issues with people and them not being effective over a long-term period. And the other thing you need to keep in mind, too, is that basically most people, it's a couple of years and then they have to come out because they're just successful in that regard. So,
well, that's the kind of way it was with mine. I kept having to go back in and get it reprogrammed. And the last time I, was in to get it reprogrammed, I remember the guy told me, he said, I can't do much more. And they checked it, I guess it was probably a year or two ago, and there was a bunch of leads broken stuff.
Okay.
So it's just, the battery's dead on it now.
Okay. Help me out with this. When it comes to medication, what are we looking at? What are you currently taking?
I could go well, I take stuff for Quit for restless leg. I take Tramadol in the morning at 200 milligrams, and then I take a hydrocodone 1.5 at night. I have acid reflux. I take I take some, I take Benadryl for spasms in my throat. I'm just trying to think. I got my blank. I know my meds. I just kind of went blank.
Okay.
But I do have restless leg too. I don't know if you ever heard of restless leg syndrome. That's mostly even when I take my medicine, sometimes I'll have bouts with that, and that drives me crazy too.
So now,
I take Zonagrain for my migraine.
Okay. How many migraines do you have in a month?
It's hard to say. I really don't have a monthly. I have what you call a chronic headache. Once I get one, it's hard for me to get rid of one. Like smells will trigger them, or like the barometric pressure, like in the springtime or something like that. Sometimes those will trigger the migraines. But like what it was is when on my first marriage, my ex-husband had a shop at the back of the house, and he kept coming in and had naphtha and chemical smells all over him,
Mhm.
and I got basically chemically poisoned because I had a headache pretty well every day for 9 years.
All right. So basically, you need to have an answer for that. How many per month? You need to know your medications. You need to know what they're for, and you need to know the side effects that you get from each. And make sure when you go through your side effects that they check out with those side effects that are sponsored through the programs that are online. Like, when you look up that medication, some website will say these are it. Perfect. So help me out with this. Now, you live with your husband, correct?
Yeah.
Anybody else in the house?
No.
Okay. So when you cook, what kind of meals do you cook?
On good days, I try to cook, what I can, like, maybe some tacos or like a meatloaf or some casseroles if I can, when I feel good. But on other days, we're just, most of the time, it's staff, put it in the microwave, sandwiches, and he's really good at helping me.
Mm-hmm.
He helps with house cleaning and, doing things and helping with cooking because he knows I can't stand. I have a mat, one of those mats in front of the stove too, to kind of push a mat to help.
Okay. So basically, you have difficulty with cooking. You really quickly went through the most important parts of what you have to talk about. You said you can't stand for long periods while cooking. Help me out. How else are you limited when it comes to cooking?
Well, I can't stand. It's hard for me, I've got carpal tunnel also in my right hand, so reaching, and sometimes with my right hand, it goes numb. So I have to take various breaks a lot of times if I am cooking something just to rest.
Okay. So now tell me this, laundry, you do his laundry or does he do your laundry? How does that work?
He does his own. I do mine, and I have one of those little grabber deals that I, take the laundry when it's wet. I've been using that to try to take it out. He helps me. Helps fold the towels and things like that.
Okay. So now walk me through this. When you go to do the wash, I'm assuming you grab the bin, right? And you take it over to the washer. You put it in. Do you have the gallon sized, dish, or rather the laundry detergent, or do you use something else?
I have the little liquid ones, and it's right on the top. It's on the shelf right above the washing machine.
Okay. And is it a side-by-side or stacked?
It's side-by-side.
Okay. And help me out. When it comes to laundry, how often do you do laundry?
Maybe a couple times a week.
Okay. A couple times a week? Okay. What I'm getting at is if it's a large load of laundry, then you're lifting a laundry basket. And if you're lifting a laundry basket, then basically you have the capacity to lift more than 5 pounds.
Well, we have baskets right there in the laundromat that all the clothes and stuff goes in them right there. And, they just go from the laundry basket right there. Like I said, I use my grabber and put them over into the washer. And like I said, when I'm retired, the main deep laundry that we do is the towels, and that's where he helps me. Otherwise, it's like right now, it's just t-shirts and shorts.
Okay.
And he does his own clothes.
Okay. When you go grocery shopping and you're walking through the aisles, do you go with your husband or no? And when you bring them out to your car, are you the one that unloads them from your car into your house?
I have a little cart that I've been using. I'll take some out. I'll try to take them out of the bag to where it's not so heavy. If I've got a bunch, if I time it right and he's here when he's come home from work, he'll bring it in for me.
Okay. So help me out with this. So just so I understand this, when you're there and you're shopping, What are some of the bigger items that you get at the store?
Well, toilet tissue. I guess maybe ice cream.
Mm-hmm.
Let me think. Of course, your vegetables, your lettuce, bread, a few little canned goods.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe a drink, cold drink.
Okay. What about like, a big thing of toilet paper, or a big thing of paper towels, or a big thing of, something?
Yeah, those. I have to watch. If I get those, I have to be careful to, the toilet paper. Like I said, where I'm lately here in Texas, we've been having to, run on the toilet paper and stuff.
Sure.
So my husband's he's gone out and stocked up on a bunch of those for us.
Okay, gotcha. So, okay, gotcha. So what I'm getting at, just so you know, is that you have not at any point deterred me from believing that you use two hands to lift up these big items, which means that you're not using your cane and you have full capacity and balance while lifting them. So that's what I'm getting at. So help me out with this. So when it comes to outside activities, what do you do for hobbies?
Really, I think right now I just watch TV. I like to sew, so I'm trying to do a little sewing if I can. But when I start hurting real bad, I have to even stop doing that.
So you like to sew? I like to sew too. What kind of sewing machine do you have?
I have a Past Ambition 16.
So you're spoiled.
My mom bought it for me because my husband died.
Yeah, no, I would imagine. I have a brother 2800D, but you have the winner there. But all right, walk me through this. What kind of embroidery do you do?
I don't do embroidery.
Okay.
It's just I like just to make. I've made clothes even before for myself.
Okay.
And that's what I'm interested in, but I just can't stand to cut out the fabric and the material and all that stuff. That's what if I'm having a good day, I might try to do it, but then I pay the next day.
So when you sew, do you ever hand sew? Or is it just all machine sewing?
It's almost. I do a little bit of hand sewing, basting and stuff like that, but it's mostly machine.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So walk me through this. When you're sewing something, what's the last thing that you sewed? What was the nice item?
It was a top.
It was a top? Okay, excellent. And walk me through this. What kind of fabric was it?
It was knit. It was a black knit top.
Okay. So a lot of stretching while sewing. Okay, gotcha. What was tough about sewing that particular piece for you?
It was, the stretching is on it, and then, with my hands trying to mess with it just to be able to do anything.
Okay. What limitations do you have with your hands?
Well, like I said, I have, not now, I got another injection in my right hand for carpal tunnel. I forgot to mention that this is my second injection. They told me next time I'll have to go in and have it fixed. But I know even like drying my hair or anything like that, I have to put a brace on. Even at night, wear a brace because my hand goes numb.
Which hand? Yeah. Always remember. Yeah. If you're talking about something you have two of, more than two, like fingers or toes or whatever, make sure you specify. Don't say it, especially telephonic. It's not on the record. And if it's not on the record, they can discount it.
Okay. Thank you.
So walk me through this. Let's talk about the hands for a second. Do your palms, fingers, or hands in general have any limitations? And if so, which hand is worse?
My dominant right hand is, it goes numb. My thumb will go basically just numb and tingling, and so my other fingers, it's, where I don't have what I'm feeling in it. Mm-hmm. And it just, at night, it'll go to sleep on me, and it just hurts. I can't grasp stuff real good.
Okay. Which would be more difficult for you? Repetitive typing on a keyboard, peeling a label off a piece of fruit, or pinching toothpaste out of a tube?
Typing on the keyboard.
Okay. Why would that be more difficult for you?
Be the repetitive with the keys.
Okay. With which hand?
My right hand.
Cool. Always hit that home over and over specifically, because if you are right hand limited, we can't have you doing fine manipulative or gross manipulative functions with your hand, like having you work on a line where you have to screw a screw in or turn something over to wrap something. We can't have you doing repetitive work. Next question. What would be more difficult at night for you? Pick up an object off the ground. So let's say you can't see it. Would it be feeling the size of the object, the temperature of it, or the texture of the object with your fingertips?
Okay, can you say that again? I'm sorry.
What would be more difficult at night while picking up an object off the ground? Feeling the size, temperature, or texture of the object on your fingertips?
Probably maybe the temperature.
Maybe the temperature? Okay, and why is that?
Because, like I said, it sometimes my fingers are numb.
Okay, gotcha. Help me out with this. What would be harder, cutting an orange into 4 pieces with a knife, peeling the skin off an orange by hand, or using a handheld peeler on the zest of an orange?
Would be, I think, peeling it off by hand.
Okay. And why would that be more difficult?
Because I'm using my right hand and gripping that, and I can't grip. I can't pull.
Okay. For the manipulative, unskilled, and skilled movements that we have discussed with your hands, would you be able to do these functions repetitively over an 8-hour workday if you were required to do it as part of a job?
No.
What about a 6-hour workday?
I don't think it's 6, no.
What about half-time, part-time work, 4 hours?
I'd have to have breaks in between.
Okay, so let's say that you had a 20-minute break in between each hour. Would you be able to do it?
I don't even know if I could then, because I would have to put some ice on it, and I don't know if that would even work.
Okay. So what if I handed you an orange, right? Would it be harder for you to receive it at waist level, relaxed elbow level, or shoulder level, or eye level?
Probably shoulder.
Probably shoulder? Okay. And why would it be hard for you to receive it up high?
Because of my gripping in my back, up in my motion up in my back area.
Okay. Okay. And what do you feel? Remember, we're looking for a description of pain.
I'm feeling some pain up and tightness up in my back, and then my hand hurts, and then I've got pain across my upper back.
Let's talk about upper back, because we've already talked about lower back. Tightening.
Tightness.
What else?
Tightness, some spasming a little bit, just, a little bit of numbness, just real tight, pain.
Lightning like sharp, hot, grinding, burning. What kind of pain do you feel in your upper back? Tight and?
Tight and sharp, and sometimes burning.
Okay, good. All right. Keep working on your adjectives, because one of the limitations I'm hearing a lot of is that basically scaffolds or perhaps crawl under a vehicle.
No.
Okay. What about ramps or stairs? You think you'd be able to go up or down them, ascending, descending?
No.
Okay. So you wouldn't even be able to climb upstairs?
Oh, well, I'd have to walk it. I don't like climbing stairs, because I wanted to do the kind of a clumsy person.
Okay.
I wanted to be to easily fall. That's my nature.
Okay. What's more difficult for you, picking a pencil up off the floor, buttoning a button, picking a dime up off the table, or putting on a long sleeve T-shirt?
Picking up, I guess, a pencil off the floor.
Okay. And can you tell me why is that so difficult for you?
Because I'm having to reach down in my back. I cannot reach down that far without being in extreme pain in my back, and then gripping it with my right hand. I can't grip it.
Okay. Are you able to walk over uneven surfaces such as curbs, single steps, or getting into a car?
I can, but it is painful.
Okay. So, for example, getting into a vehicle would be difficult for you.
No, I can get into a vehicle. It's get step down. I can step down into a vehicle. Now, getting up, like in a high-rise pickup or something, it's hard to do.
Okay. So walk me through this. Just help me out here. You drive to the grocery store. That's not a problem. How far away is the county line from where you live?
20, 30 miles, something, I guess, maybe.
How many?
I guess maybe, I don't know, 20 miles, I guess.
All right, so
I'm just guessing.
So not that far, right? Would it be mostly highway miles? Would it be mostly country miles?
They don't say highway miles.
Okay, mostly. So in theory, you could be there in 25 minutes at the county line.
Yeah.
All right, so that's not that bad. Walk me through this. When was the last time you were out of the county?
I'm trying to think. Pretty well tried to stay close in town, especially with all the COVID-19 stuff going on. It's been, I don't know. Let me look here. It was probably maybe a couple weeks ago.
A couple of weeks ago? Okay, gotcha. Mm-hmm. Who were you visiting?
We were just, me and my husband, we go out on Saturday night, or date night, beat out.
Sure.
And we just kind of went out just to kind of get out, just drove around a little bit. Just got on the highway and just drove around to see we've got a lot of rain here to see what the lakes look like.
Okay. So walk me through this. You go on your date nights. Do you go to the movies usually? I know COVID's screwing things up, but what do you normally do?
Yeah, if we do, sometimes we may go to the movies, or we just go eat out and come back home.
Okay, gotcha. What's your favorite movie that you watched in the movie theater?
Oh, it's such a long time since we've been. Oh.
Well, he's in trouble then. You tell him. That's right.
I'm hoping I can go again. It's been a while. Got so much going on.
Sure. Well, give me an example of one you usually watched.
Let's say Jurassic Park.
Jurassic Park, like Jurassic World or Jurassic Park?
Yeah, Jurassic World. Yeah, Jurassic World.
Okay, gotcha. Did you enjoy the movie?
Marvel movie.
One of the Marvels? Yeah. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. So walk me through this. Did you enjoy Jurassic World?
Yeah, it was pretty good.
It was pretty good? Okay, cool. What kind of food did you have while you were there?
We didn't eat anything there.
Did you get a drink though at least?
Yeah, I got a drink.
Okay, good. Now, because you didn't get any food there, I need you to go yell. That's funny. Oh my goodness. I want to tell you a little side story, and then I want to go into why I'm talking about this movie. When I was younger, my mom gave my sister money to take and her in Maine to go to the movie theater, and she gave her enough money to get me popcorn or treats or whatever, to do it right, do the movie theater as you're supposed to be doing the movie theater. So we get to the movie theater, my sister buys the tickets, and then she goes up and looks at the prices of the items for the food, the concession stand, and she tells me, boy, that popcorn's really expensive. I was like, yeah, why? Okay, let's get the medium popcorn. She said, no, it's too expensive. So basically, she tells me every item on there is too expensive. Then I go home that night after the movie, and at that point, that's when we learned that my sister was a total and complete Scrooge. She's a penny-saving person. And it was just my mom yelled at her. She's like, "What? I gave you the money." My sister gave my mom the money right back, and she's like, "Here's what's left." And I was like, "So, yeah." But that is, I'm a spender. which is why I have too many boats. And she's she doesn't buy anything. Like her gifts are literally hard thought decisions. They are organized, hard thought decisions, which is good because she's a postdoctorate heavy hitter vet. I mean, there's vets, there's postdoctorate specialty vets, and then she's up here. She's one of those super duper, double board certified, whatever. I don't even know what she has, but it's one of those yada yadas. And the funny part about it is that, it's one of those things where she's just that organized scientific mentality, which is what you want for the vet field. But unfortunately, as a result of that, I starved from lack of popcorn that night. So I just want to let you know. As you can tell, I haven't starved my entire life, but that was the big thing. So basically, the reason I asked you a bunch of questions about Jurassic World was that that's a 2 hour and 4 minute long movie. And I know that you sat there for 2 hours and 4 minutes because you never told me you had to get up to go to the bathroom. You never told me you had back issues. You never told me you had any issues because there was an omission. Remember? Yes, there's statements and omissions. Now, I'm sure you'll correct me. So tell me now, how many times?
We got the handicap seating.
Mm-hmm.
The seats that you can fold out. Down there at the handicap, they have seats for handicapped people.
Mm-hmm.
We always get those.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, I do get, and I always have to take some extra pain medication when I go.
Okay.
And I do have to get up in there.
So the pain medication, it works, right? I mean, it's able to calm you down for a while, right?
It helps, yes.
Okay, good.
It's bearable.
So what is your pain like on a regular day before the pain medication?
Oh, probably a good 6 to 7.
Oh, it's 6 to 7. Okay, so help me out with this. So 6 or 7. Then you take the pain medication. What does it go to then?
I mean, it may be an 8. It varies. It's according to what I'm doing. If I'm just studying, it may not be too bad. But once I get up moving around, it really starts hurting.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So walk me through this. You need the pain medication. Did you take the pain medication ahead of time, or did you take it during the movie?
I usually take it right before we go in.
Right. Okay. Right before you go in. Hence the drink, I'm assuming.
Oh, yes.
Okay, good. And you can see how my mind is starting to pull apart the story, right? I'm using what you told me because I'm trying to build a case basically for or against you. You were in the specialty seats, correct? You said you were in the disability-based seats. Okay.
Right. We always get that. Yeah.
Okay. How many times did you get up during that movie?
Probably about 3 times.
How about 3 times? Okay. Where'd you go?
I just kind of went out to the I went to the restroom and then just kind of walked a little bit out there in the corridor area and kind of stretched a little bit. Moved around and walked around and tried to kind of loosen my back up.
Okay. Help me out. So you went out there, you were walking around. How many minutes?
Okay.
Yeah. How many minutes would you say you missed of the movie?
Oh, it might have been 10 minutes, 15 minutes.
Okay. All right. Okay. So let me just go ahead and pick up. I have a little puppy here with me, and she's literally destroying the green screen as we talk. But let me just grab her real quick. And when I say little, I mean she's a chub.
Do you think I have a case?
Well, you're 55, which means you got the statute in your favor. You're not currently working, which means SGA element is met. You've had the impairment for more than 12 months, but you're in sticky water when it comes to why did you stop working? Because you didn't say, oh, it's because, it was so bad. You were front up, hey, it's because I wanted to retire and go to the movies, one of those yada yadas. So basically, you're going to have to reevaluate the reasoning for leaving and right up front hit the judge with it and say, the reason I had to retire was because. And one of the things you said they had me lifting this and they had me lifting that. And da. That's good. That's really great. But I want more. I don't want it to just be about lifting because remember, backs aren't just about lifting. I want to hear about lack of focus, lack of concentration, lack of ability to follow tasks, lack of ability to finish things that you start. I want to hear about all the stuff that you can or cannot do, because I need to understand why you can't do a simple job. And let me explain real quick what a simple job is. A simple job is a Walmart greeter, an almond blancher, somebody who's tying shoelaces into shoes, somebody who's a document preparer, somebody who, for example, is doing the most basic functions that you could potentially do in a work environment. The SVPs 1, the SVP 2s, which are the jobs that you can learn in a very short period with a short demonstration, or, around 30 days or maybe a little bit more, things like that. So the bottom line is, I need to know why you can't do the jobs you once did. How long did you have the last job that you had before you stopped working and retired?
3 years.
3 years. And what was the job you had before that?
I worked as a office manager in a nursing office.
Okay, so you worked.
I was there for about 2 years.
Okay, so you moved around a lot, correct?
Well, this was my longest stay was with the state of Texas, and I worked there for 23 years at a local university. And of course, I moved around in different departments there, and then I left there, and then I got back into the state system to where could get my benefits.
Okay, so help me out with this. Now, remember, it depends. Have you looked up what your judge's percent passage rate is?
Yeah.
Okay, don't tell me which judge, but what percent passage rate is the judge?
I think it was about 30 or 40%. I think it wasn't great.
Well, that's a big swing. So was it more towards 30 or more towards 40?
I think it was around 40.
Okay. All right. So that's not terrible. Now help me out with this. Where's the judge practiced before? What areas?
Your area.
Oh, in Florida?
Florida.
Oh, okay. Okay. Gotcha. And the judge left how long ago?
Oh, I don't know. That's the one that I'm having is from Florida. That's the case.
Oh, so you're having a Florida-based judge. Is the judge based in Tampa, Orlando? Where's the judge based?
Orlando.
Oh, okay, cool. It's one of my puppies. That's good. That's good. That's real good. You're gonna have a good old time. All right. Is it a male or female?
Female.
Okay. All right. I already know which judge you're talking about based upon the statistics that you've given me. Okay. And I was just trying to think of.
I was kind of wondering why they do different out of different states. That's kind of strange.
Yeah. So let's go through this real quick. Things that your particular judge is going to want. I guess that's where we should go next.
Yeah, I know. I was like, oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let me. Yeah, it was Orlando. Yeah, that's. Let me double check, but I'm almost sure that's what it was.
Okay.
Let me look here, because I know I looked on there and I was like, say what? Let's see. Yeah, starts with a K.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
Okay.
Yeah, so perfect. So I'm not going to go into a lot of details about. Yeah, I know. I can see that. I just had somebody let me know, and I'm aware which judge it is. All right, things that this judge. Hold on, my chair's. I swear this chair is going to kill me at some point because it's constantly in break mode. But things that you need to be aware of with this judge. This judge. Don't, and not that you're that type of person, don't throw any aggressiveness towards this judge. Be polite, be very polite, because she gets angry and quickly like snaps a little bit. So, and keep in mind too, this is a younger judge. I was there when this judge was training with other judges. I remember her going up through the whole yada yada. So what I need you to understand is that this judge is looking for the respect that comes with the chair. That's super important. Another thing that you have to know is this, throughout the process, this particular judge is going to want to know about your functions with your hobbies heavily, your functions of what you used to do at your jobs. So, the conversation is going to be in the very beginning, it's going to be all about what did you do with them? What were your functions? Yada, yada. Don't oversell yourself. Don't oversell yourself. Don't tell them you were the president, you were the grand poobah of the facility, you were the owner, you did all the payroll, the this, that. Don't oversell it. Tell them what you actually did. Don't try to over-impress them because it's only going to hurt you. She's going to want to know about what you were lifting. She's going to want to know about how long you had to do things. She's going to want to know if this was a sit-stand job. Let's see. So bottom line is, I just got a quick text about blah, blah, blah. Okay, so another thing. So basically what you want to know is this. Throughout the process, she does highly standardized hearings. Highly standardized hearings. So what do I mean by that? And you're not going to know because you don't do hearings all day. She's going to follow the following metric for parts that come up during the hearing. Introduction is going to be your, I'm telling you the basics. Then she goes into work history, what you did within the past 15 years. Then she goes into home and hobby stuff. Then she goes into basically, what's specific, or actually, no, she'll go into medical. What's your most severe impairments? Then she'll go into, cooking, cleaning, all that stuff. And have you watched those videos on the top 50 ALJ trick questions?
No, I haven't yet.
Okay. Go do that because one of them is hers. So yeah. And then two of them are from the person who trained her. So it is highly relevant as my shoe is getting eaten by this puppy that you go watch those videos. Whatchamacallit. So, okay. I'm trying to think of something else. So what else does she do that's unique? She never decides claims on the bench. She's going to probably grid you out, which means that you're going to have a negotiation with your attorney. And I can't ask you which attorney. Hold on. Just 1 second. Let me take you off of. Okay, you're off speakerphone. Which attorney are we dealing with? Okay, cool. All right, cool. I'm going to put you back on speaker now. I know that. All right. With that law firm, and I've gotten cases from people who had that firm before, you're going to have to make sure that they ask you about your medications. You're going to have to make sure they have all of your medical records to begin with. You're going to have to make sure that you go into detail about your side effects. You're going to have to go into detail about environmental restrictions because they probably won't bring them up. You're going to have to go into detail about how you don't do hobbies and stuff like that, because they won't ask about them. Also, you're going to have to go into detail about multiple impairments that you have. Not just your most severe, but multiple impairments that you have. And here's why. Because they're going to focus on that particular law firm, your most severe impairment. They're going to be all back. What's limiting your ability to work? I want to see the list.
Okay. Well, I know I've given them all my records too, and then I've given them all my records, and they, supposed to get all the records from my physician, which will have all that stuff because he's been treating me for 20 years or more. Right.
Okay. Gotcha.
When I started having the migraines and stuff, so all that should be in there.
Okay. Gotcha. All right. So here's the thing, though. Remember, this is your opportunity to shine. And when I say shine, I mean the judge hasn't read your entire record. They're going to read what they can directly before your hearing, which means the judge has 10 minutes to figure out what the heck's going on with this. Has your attorney written an opening statement or a brief?
I haven't. No, not yet. No.
Okay. So does your attorney?
I just got the notification, I guess about 3 weeks ago about when it was going to be. And then they said they were going to be getting all my records and everything next month.
Okay.
Because I just had my last doctor visit.
Okay. There's another thing, too. Do you have a sleep study?
No.
Okay. How long has the cane been prescribed?
How long's what's been prescribed?
The cane.
The cane.
Mm-hmm.
What was the request?
Well, your cane was prescribed, right?
Oh, the cane. I'm sorry. Probably about a year.
Probably about a year. Okay. But who prescribed it?
My primary care doctor.
Okay. Who backed that up? Specialist also back it up? They put it in your notes?
No. It's just my primary care doctor, and he gave me I've had my disability hang tag probably since 2011 or 2012, I think.
Okay. Walk me through this. So, when did you turn? How long ago did you turn 55?
Well, I'll be 56 in August.
All right. So, if the judge, now look, she doesn't do this. I had a judge today who basically takes the easy route always. If he can grit it out and just get it off his docket, he'll grit it out, which means he'll kill a bunch of back pay. This judge, and I almost said her name, doesn't do that. This judge will actually find a good AOD anchor point, amended alleged onset date point, and go with that. Do you know what your amended alleged onset date is?
It would have been, when I filed, it would have been November of 2018.
Yeah, but you're SSDI, which means you can go farther back in time. So do you know exactly when? Okay, so you want to ask your attorney, what's my AOD? Why is that my AOD?
Okay.
Also, when it comes to the firm that you picked, actually, never. I'm just as a warning to the YouTube community about firms like this. So, ma'am, how do you feel the firm has been doing?
I guess pretty good.
Pretty good. Okay.
So,
cool.
Yeah.
Okay. What are things that they did really well? What are things that they could improve upon?
Just maybe. Well, so far, I mean, I've had a little bit of problems with them contacting me back. I've had to call them several times. That's about. I mean, I've sent them the records and things like that. But if I had a question or something I needed to talk to them, I've had to call several times to get them to call, to get an answer because I can't seem to get someone to call me back.
Have you run questions with your attorney?
No. I asked them about that, and they said they would be doing that, I guess, after they get the records.
Okay. Have they asked you all the facilities that you've been to?
I have filled out paperwork and stuff that has all that stuff listed, but they haven't actually asked me that they've got that paperwork.
Okay. All right.
The initial,
because you have to have faith in your law firm to go ahead and be able to really, kick button there. Can I just give you a few little things that you want to watch out for?
Sure.
Make sure they have all your medical evidence in. They usually don't. That's issue number one. Issue number two is that if they don't have all their medical evidence in, make sure they follow the 5-10-day rule and that they notify the judge 5 days before the hearing. So 7 days before the hearing, you need to call them and say, what medical facilities are we still waiting for? And you need to make sure that they submit a 5-10-day notice.
Okay.
The other thing you need to watch out for is that when you're doing the hearing, that they really go after the vocational expert. And here's why. Your claim is likely to grid out. The judge may nod the hat and say, hey, she'll grid out at yada yada. But you should be fighting for before 55, and you should know what your alleged onset date is based upon a particular medical document that said you had reached severity. Okay. So remember, and the other thing too that we didn't talk about yet is basically, hold on, I've got to pick up my other doggy. The other thing too that we didn't talk about is basically the whatchamacallit, I'm assuming you have a timeline, or you could make a timeline of when you had medical imaging done of your body.
Oh yes, I've got the CD.
The last hearing I heard with that attorney, They had no idea what their timeline for the claimant was as to when they had that medical imaging done, which means they had no idea what the medical imaging actually stated, which means it was a little bit tricky. So it's very important that you give a simple timeline to your attorney as to when you had medical imaging, so that they can say, oh, yeah, they got it. But trust me, they will bring that for the hearing or use it during the telephonic hearing. Okay.
Most all of them going to be telephonic hearings.
Everything's telephonic all the way through August, throughout the country. So.
Well, see, mine is that almost at the end of August, so that's the reason why I was thinking maybe it would be in person.
Yes. So, Madame, do you have any further questions for me?
No, I don't. I appreciate everything you have done. It has been a great help.
Excellent, Madame. If you get a chance, if you could leave me 5 stars on like Google or Better Business Bureau or Ava or any one of those spots, I would super duper appreciate it.
Okay, I sure will. And I will go out there and listen to those other videos, and I will continue watching you. And thank you so much. I appreciate it so very much.
Absolutely. Have a wonderful evening. And that's from me and the doggies as well.
Thank you.
Absolutely. I'll catch you later. Bye-bye.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. So, guys, I want to point out a couple of things about this particular claim. These are things that I really liked. A, she seemed really believable. B, we didn't get a chance to go into the story as to how this whole back thing developed, but that's one other thing I wanted to touch on. Another thing that I really liked about it was that she seemed like a genuine, real person that I could communicate with. Some claimants I interact with, it's just tough. It's tough for me to get information out of them. And she was very freely giving that information, and it seemed very genuine. So that's excellent. That's really, really good. She's actually going to do particularly well with the judge that she has because of that. So here's some of the negative things, and they're not negatives. They're just things to watch out for. When it comes to, and she was catching on more and more as we went through the whole detail as to what to watch out for, yada, yada, yada. But what you need to remember, too, is that every single thing that you say you can do, they're trying to position you in a manner in which you could potentially do that job version. So let's say, well, I could do some cooking. Well, I could do some cleaning. Well, I could do some this, that, whatever. They're trying to put you into that particular job in the national economy. So let's talk about this. Okay. Yeah. So can big mouth can be a plus. So no. When you talk to these judges, the main thing is to always prepare your statements to be summarized, bullet point oriented, specific about why you can't do work in the national economy or why approach almost like you're talking to a police officer, because the bottom line is that you do not want to give tons of information. If you give tons of information, that judge is going to use information to unwrap the story and start to beat you up, which is what happened when we went into the whole story about how she drove out of the county, where she was going. She's going on date nights. If she's in all this pain, how's she able to go on date nights, stuff like that. So that's kind of one of the big things that, happened with that. So, okay, walk me through this. I know that we were going to talk about vocational experts. So we need to go through basically what happens with a vocational expert at the hearing. We need to go through the details about, and a lot of people are like, hey, the vocational expert said, these are the jobs. And the judge said, could they work? Can I do them? And the vocational said, no, work preclusive, and therefore I should be found disabled. I want to be able to go into basically what that all means. I want you to understand that just because a vocational expert said there's jobs in the national economy doesn't mean that you are de facto being found disabled. All right, let's talk about this real quick. Vocational experts are there to give jobs that you could potentially do based upon a hypothetical of limitations that are imposed on you by the judge. I know that sounds complicated. Let me make it simple. Let me make it so that it can be chewed easily. Okay, we're talking gummy vitamin bears. So with that said, the judge is making up a bunch of you can't do stuff. They're putting it in a hypo, and they're asking the vocational expert if you could do jobs based upon that can't do stuff. And what that means is that the vocational expert will come forward with types of jobs in the national economy. They could do document prepare. They could do ticket taker. God, it's the same crap over and over. It's always the same ones over and over. You would think like you would get a little bit of this or that. It's the same ones over and over. So what does all that mean? It means that basically they're looking at this thing to say, could this claimant do the most basic, simple jobs in the entire country? Now think about that. These simple jobs don't all exist in Florida, California, New Mexico, Alaska, New York, New Jersey, blah, 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 right? The program is built with the expectation that you should be able to move to these jobs, right? So what that means is that basically you should be able to move to these, different states to be able to do those jobs. That must be an ego boost to those people who do those jobs. Yeah. Well, no, I'm not saying those jobs are bad. I'm saying those jobs, they always use them over and over. The vocational experts, they use them over and over and over. And here's why. Document preparer, ticket taker, there's really no way to beat those. From an attorney standpoint, there's no way for me to beat those unless the claimant specifies ahead of time limitations with their hands, limitations with their back. They're specific to the limitations required by that job. The reasoning levels, all the little different things that just go into those jobs, they're so low. They're so low, it's just hard to beat it. Because remember, we got to look at education. We have to look at what the capacity is. We have to look, is this a grid out situation like the person I was just talking to? So those are all the little things that you kind of have to look into with these particular situations. Now, we've specified the judge will ask the vocational expert to give jobs that you could potentially do based upon limitations that the judge gave, right? That's the most simplified way of saying it. Hypo number 1, 3 jobs. Hypo number 2, hypo number 3, hypo number 4, right? The judge gives these different hypos. Hypo number 2, based upon hypo number 1, what if I added the following limitations? Blah, 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 right? Work preclusive. Oh, I must be found disabled. Hypo 3 comes up. What if I move it from light to sedentary? Well, yeah, you could do this job, and this job. Boom. All of a sudden, now there's more jobs on the table. We got light jobs. We've got sedentary jobs. There's more on the table. Then we move it to hypo number 4. Well, what if they're off task more than 10% of the time? What if they miss more than one day a month? Blah, 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 blah. Cha, 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 so on and so forth. Work preclusive. The judge has 2 hypotheticals where basically hypothetical 1 and hypothetical 3 that you could potentially do jobs in the national economy, and the judge could choose those, even though the judge said twice, hypothetical 2 and hypothetical 4, that you couldn't do work preclusive. Work preclusive. Okay. So what that means is that basically at this point, the judge has the opportunity to choose that you could work or not work based upon the hypotheticals that were proffered. Now, look, a lot of you guys, when the judge asks, all right, what if the claimant, this limitation, this limitation, this limitation, this limitation, and vocational experts like, there's no jobs in my DOT that I can pick from. I was looking my thumb, spinning the page, and I can't find a DOT option. Then in that case, if that's the only thing that's brought up, and the judge is like, okay, is that, in total, yada, yada, then in that case, good deal, because you're likely to be found disabled. But if you're getting a lot of hypotheticals, and some of those hypotheticals are yes, and some of those hypotheticals are no, that means the judge wants to go take another look at the record, okay? All right, something that I want you to understand, your attorney should be bringing up during the hearing any hypothetical information about your abilities to do sit, stand, walk, remembering, focusing, concentrating, whatever, that the medical expert gave as part of a consultative examination. All right, that was heavy. I know a lot of people are just like, yada, yada. So let's go ahead and go through what that means. Okay, so let's say that you go to a medical expert as part of the consultative examination. So the medical expert will go ahead and write a report. And at the bottom of the report, there's usually a recommendation as to what your capacity is to do residual functional capacity tasks, right? So what does that really mean? It means that the medical expert is showing what you could potentially do with a job. Well, I think this person could sit for 6 to 8 hours a day, and I think they could stand and walk for 4 out of 6 hours a day, right? 4 out of 8 hours, whatever they want to put down. That means they believe you can do sedentary work, because sedentary is defined as a 6 out of 8 job, as opposed to light work, which requires 6 out of 8 walking and or standing. So they're saying you can't do light work, but they're saying that you could potentially do sedentary work. So what that means is that basically you've essentially gotten rid of an entire category of potential jobs that they could proffer, or that the judge should bring forward. So what I like to do at the end of my testimony with the claimant, when I'm asking the questions to the claimant, I like to say, Your Honor, if you would mind going ahead and including the hypothetical limitations proffered by the medical expert as part of your hypothetical analysis with the VE. What I'm saying to the judge is, I want you to look at what your own doctor that the SSA paid for said, and I want you to include that as one of your hypotheticals. That's an important tactic. Most attorneys don't do it. I do it. Another thing I want you to keep in mind with this whole medical expert thing is this. Part of the hearing, you need to, as an attorney, I have to ask my claimant, right? So you, just to understand this, you went to this medical expert. Yes. Have you seen the medical expert before, other than that time that you went to go see them as part of the SSA visit? No. How much time did the medical expert spend with you? 10 minutes. Was that enough time for them to review your entire medical file and make a decision on what your impairments were and assist you with it? No. What did they do as part of it? And then you'll get this answer that has nothing to do with half the things they reported on. So that's important to put on the record. Good. They did the medical expert thing. So another thing that's really important is, if necessary, it's not always appropriate, but sometimes it's necessary to request that basically the medical expert be present for the hearing. Judges almost never bring the medical expert that you went to be part of the hearing. They almost never do it. But it does allow for grounds for an appeals counsel review if it's a situation where it would have really been helpful. Sometimes it's not helpful at all, but still it's something to bring up. Okay. All right. All right. So we can do one more person. We are at 9:34. So if any of you guys want to call in, that's fine. I know I missed one call somewhere in there. Let me go ahead and put the phone number in here real quick. And then, if you guys want to go ahead and call me, that's fine. And we can go ahead and run questions. Boop. All right. Another thing I want to talk about has to do with driving. I break it up with transportation-based questions because I need to know how you're getting around. Are you getting around via bus? Are you getting around via cab? Are you getting around via Uber? Are you getting around via your own vehicle? What type of vehicle you have? Have you recently traveled out of the county? Have you recently traveled out of the state? How far away is the grocery store? That's kind of how I break these things up. So let's say that, for example, you have the mental impairment of anxiety, depression, stuff like that. Let's say that you have a difficult time interacting with, for example, the bus driver. Let's say that you have a difficult time being on a bus around other people. Let's say that you have a difficult time following which stop you have to get off on. Let's say that you can't travel where you have multiple stops. Let's say that you have a difficult time while you're driving with left-hand turn signals. Let's say that you have a tough time with stoplights. Let's say that you have a tough time with stop signs. There's all these things that people don't take advantage of when it comes to transportation. And it's just so incredibly important for you to really spend time when it comes to transportation to go into details about what it is that which you can't and can do. All right, so let's start with this. Anything new on CDR since Congress stepped up their game? CDR, continuing disability reviews, here's what they're doing. Basically, they've added that 2-year option, or they're in the process of doing that. They haven't changed much with that in regard to what they're going to be doing with it. They keep changing the rules as to what testimony is required to prove the listings. And specifically, hold on, I got to get this chair in more. Oh, never mind. I got a sweetie there. So what this means is that they keep making it harder for people to be found disabled because they keep making the medical severity requirements higher. In fact, some of them, like 12.04, you basically have to have an extreme impairment limitation for some of it, in a particular type of category or a particular type of paragraph usage. All right, let me see. I'm going to go through some of these. I'm going to go through some of these questions real quick. If anybody wants to call me, that's fine. If not, that's okay. Let me see what's going on. Okay, so they say I can sit 7 hours out of an 8-hour day doing light office work with less than a high school education at 56 years old. I'm on very strong pain meds and use a service dog. Oh, hold on, we got a call. Hi, this is Attorney Walter Hnot. Are you ready to go ahead and... Oh, hold on. Hi, this is Attorney Walter Hnot with Disability Resolution PA. Are you ready to go ahead and run some hearing questions?
Yes, sir.
Excellent, good sir. Go ahead and mute the computer. We'll use the audio directly from the phone. And what I'd like to do is go ahead and use a fake name. And remember, there's no attorney-client privilege. So what is your fake name for the hearing?
William Scott.
Excellent. Oh, good fake name. So walk me through this. Help me out. How old are you?
Yes, sir. I'm 52.
52 years old. And when did you file? When did you file for disability benefits?
Approximately two and a half years ago.
And when's your hearing?
I don't have hearings, sir. I have been submitted to get a hearing. I'm still waiting for an actual date.
What is your most severe physical impairment?
Head injury.
Okay. Head injury, TBI, trauma to the head. What happened?
Yeah, traumatic brain injury.
Yep.
Yes, sir. I had a dirt bike accident. So let's go ahead and go.
Okay.
Dirt bike accident.
What kind of dirt bike do you have?
Without a helmet. It was a KTM 426. Of course, I don't have it no more. I haven't worked in over 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
I was a travel nurse. I've been a travel nurse for almost close to 30 years. And I didn't have a helmet on. It was in a pasture on a contract in Oklahoma City.
Who owned the pasture?
The dirt bike accident. Sir?
Who owned the pasture?
What about the pasture?
Did somebody else own it other than you?
No, sir. I sold it a long time ago.
Okay, gotcha. Okay. The reason I was asking is that you might have other litigation options for personal injury, trespassing, yada yada. But all right. So walk me through this. So that's your most severe physical impairment. What's going on with the mental? What's the most severe mental impairment?
I'm very forgetful. I lose my train of thought. My thinking is very altered. Like I say, I was a critical care travel nurse, RN for almost 30 years, working critical care, ICU, all over me and my wife was traveling stuff.
Okay. So
traumatic brain injury stuff.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Gotcha. Walk me through this. So when it comes down to, for example,
Yes, sir.
TBI, do you have depression?
Yes,
do you
sir.
have issues with the, mental limitations like anxiety? Do you have
Yes, sir.
headaches, things
Yes,
like
sir.
that?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
No, sir. Thank goodness, I do not have headaches. My train of thought and my focus has been altered. I'm on, seeing a psychiatrist.
Mm-hmm.
I'm taking, Adderall to help me keep focused.
Mm-hmm.
Adderall, it's like a generic is a amphetamine.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. It's like I don't feel comfortable taking care of someone, their life. I just don't feel comfortable with that anymore.
Help me out with this. So what are your top 5
Yes,
most
sir.
severe impairments from the most severe down to the least severe of the top 5 most severe?
Yes, sir. My most severe is for sure my ability to, think clearly, stay focused, not losing my train of thought. I get, angry a little bit too easy. I have neck pain, from the injury. I was in a soft C-collar for quite a while.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, my back, I've had previous back injuries too. I've had back surgery on my back. That's about, but I can lift and move around fine.
Okay. So you can lift and move around fine.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. So walk me through, you were a travel nurse. Why can't you do that job anymore?
Because the responsibility of having somebody's life in my hands. My ability to think clearly and stay focused and not lose my train of thought and not, forget something. I don't know. I just don't feel comfortable with that. That's where I'm at. Thank you so much for your videos. Thank you so much for all you do for all us people. You're so great. I really enjoy watching your videos. They're entertaining and also very educational. Thank you so much for your time and all your efforts you're giving to us all.
Absolutely, good sir. I really appreciate it, and thank you for your service for doing the medical field.
No. You deserve so much recognition. I don't know. My hat's off to you. I've never really had a real liking to attorneys.
I hate them too.
I don't know.
I hate attorneys too.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Some of their personalities are less than to be desired. But you seem very, really good character. Thank you. I've
been, as an attorney, I've been kicked in the teeth so many times by other attorneys. And I got to tell you, when I was not an attorney, right before becoming an attorney, some of the attorneys, some of the disability attorneys that are now really, really nice to me, but that's how it goes. They were incredibly mean to me.
You've earned their respect, I'm sure.
Yes.
They respect you for what you do.
Well, not only that, they wanted help with something. They wanted me to fix something, or they had a technology question, or this or that, or how do I do this, or how do I fix, the big thing was the high tech.
They recognize your abilities.
Yeah.
That's good. They're smart enough to realize, your ability to help them.
Yeah. So what I want to do with this claim is I want to go through some of the trick questions that I know they're going to be looking for. Walk me through this. What do you drive?
Thank you again.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. So what do you drive?
Am I on the YouTube? Am I on YouTube?
You're on YouTube right now. You are live.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow. Cool.
Indeed. Yeah. So walk me through this. So you had this traumatic brain injury. What do you drive?
Okay. I drive a Volkswagen Jetta
turbo diesel. Heck yeah. All right, good. I'm a 7.3 turbo myself with the F350.
Yeah, I love diesels. The torque is awesome. Yeah,
it is sure. Especially with chip.
Awesome.
Yeah. Oh, you chip them and it's just incredible. Okay, so walk me through this. Now when it comes to driving, where do you usually drive to?
Just to my parents' house and back.
How far away is your parent?
3 miles away.
How far away is the store?
This nearest store is 1.5 miles, but the grocery store is probably 4 miles.
Okay. When you go to the grocery store, do you have any difficulty with groceries?
No, sir, I don't. And as long as I have my list, I won't forget nothing.
Okay, good. Now remember, you want to go into list, why you have difficulty following the list, items you often forget from the list. And when you talk about turbo diesels, people don't realize that you're not really talking about race car, but that's what the judge is going to be think. They're going to be like, oh, this guy likes to nail the pedal and get there. And, if it's 4 miles away,
I see your point.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So just underplay it, play the Prius card,
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Let me ask
you.
Don't
give them too much information.
Exactly. So answer this next one like you would answer it with a cop. Bullet point it for me. What medications give you side effects?
What medications give me side effects? That medicine, the Adderall medicine, gives me side effects of, kind of wires me up, gives me a lot of energy. It helps me stay focused and think more clear. But the side effect is it's like speed. It gives me more energy. It decreases my appetite. It helps. I can't sleep as good with it. Whatever. And my psychiatrist, my neuropsychiatrist that I've been seeing that prescribes that medicine has slowly increased my dose. I take 3 tablets a day.
Okay, good.
Yes, sir.
It's increased. Why though?
For its effectiveness.
Why was it ineffective before?
It was just not as effective as at this level, this dose.
Now that you have more of it, is it effective at curing the issue?
No, sir. It definitely does not cure all my issues. It does help me, stay more focused with my thinking. The reason why I got started on that, I went to a psychologist that did a neuro exam, a cognitive function test, and my cognitive function results showed that I had ADHD type symptoms, not being able to stay focused. And, that was the recommendation, was the Adderall.
Okay. So help me out with this. The Adderall, you've been taking it
Yes.
for how many years?
Not quite a year.
Not quite a year.
And since taking it, it's, helps me
Okay.
a lot, I think.
And they boosted it how many times?
Once.
Once. And what did they boost it
from? 2
from?
tablets to 3 tablets.
Okay, gotcha.
From 2 tablets to 3 tablets.
And what was the size of the tablet?
The size of the tablet is 20 milligrams.
Okay, gotcha.
Yes, sir.
Help me out with this. All right, the thing you want to watch out for with medication is you want to be able to explain why it's not working. And if you're saying that it's now working or it's better, you better have an explanation as to why you're still unable to work on top of why it's not working enough. So just make sure you limit what the medication does for you. So if we're talking about a pain medication, how long does the bottle say it's supposed to last, and how long does it actually last for you? And if you have no pain medication, how bad is the pain versus you take the pain medication and the pain is now reduced by this? Just be aware of the metrics of your medication.
Yes, sir.
Good.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I do have pain, but I don't take any really pain medicine except for maybe a Tylenol or ibuprofen, periodically, intermittently.
Mm-hmm.
I take a blood pressure medicine for my, it's a lisinopril, 40 milligrams every day for my blood pressure. I take Trintellix. Trintellix is a new medicine that is prescribed by my neuropsychiatrist also to decrease my agitation and also depression.
Okay, gotcha.
I don't really think I'm depressed, but that's.
Yeah, me too. Me too. Me too. That's how I like to approach it. Help me out with this. Do you have any livestock? Do you have any pets? Anything like that?
I have a aquarium, some fish, and that's all.
Okay. Who feeds the fish?
I do.
How long have you had the fish?
It's hard to count them. I would say probably 100.
100. Okay, so it's grown. Yeah. What kind of a tank do you have?
125 gallon
That's
fresh water. They're all African cichlids.
Okay, so that's a pretty big tank. Who takes care of the cleaning of the tank?
I do.
Okay. And walk me through this. So what do you do to keep the tank clean?
I have, it's probably over filtered to decreasing the amount of cleaning. To really clean it, I just do a water change pretty much once a month. 1/4 water change.
Okay. So when you do this water change, what's the process for it?
Just drain the water, 1/4 of it, and then fill it back up, with the water. Make sure you use the chlorinator, of course, but
sure.
Before putting the water back in. But
so let me ask you this: when it comes to cleaning up the tank, how do you transfer the water?
Siphon it. Mm-hmm. Siphon it outside.
Okay. And how do you fill it back up?
With a 5-gallon bucket.
5-gallon bucket. Yeah. And how many gallons do you have to put back into it usually?
4 5-gallon buckets, 20 gallons.
20 gallons. Okay. So when you fill up that bucket with all that stuff in there, how does that make your head feel when you have to lift it?
My head, I don't have no problem really. My head don't hurt. I don't have no head problems. As far as hurt, pain, headaches, or anything. It's just my ability to stay focused and not forget. And it's staying focused and not losing my train of thought and not forgetting. It's frustrating, so it's a big change.
Is it a big deal to miss a day with feeding the fish?
No, sir. I mean, it won't kill them or nothing.
Okay.
I try not to feed them every day because then I'll have a lot of little turds all in the bottom of my tank.
You have to clean it more often.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So what's an example of a time when maybe something didn't go right with the fish tank and it was due to your impairments?
I can't really think of any I don't know, any problem that I've had, with my aquarium because of my head injury. Just I don't feel comfortable, with, taking care of somebody's life, That's my thing, it's like, having big responsibility, with someone's life in my hand, I don't want to,
what was the thing that
error.
Yeah, what was the thing that scared you the most about being somebody that would take care of somebody? Was it the medication? What was it?
I don't know. It's a wide variety of things. Depending on what issues the patient might be having, whether it's EKG changes or blood pressure issues, stuff like that. Knowing which medication, which intervention, to use to, get the optimal response with the patient. That's a scary thing. Having responsibility. I know how important my parents are to me.
So after this happened, right? This was a moment in time. This is a you know exactly when it happened. You know what day. You know what time. You went to the hospital. When did you stop working thereafter?
No, I stopped working right after the accident. I spent 3 months in the hospital.
Mm-hmm.
And I haven't worked since the accident. I worked maybe a day or two before the accident, but not a day since the accident.
Okay.
It's been over 2 years.
Okay. And help me out with this. Do you have health insurance, and have you had health insurance throughout this entire time?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Okay. Yes, sir. Thank goodness for my wonderful wife.
Excellent. So tell me this, what are the doctors saying going forward about treatment for you?
Venous malformation in my head, and my neurosurgeon wants to do a craniotomy to remove, that arteriovenous malformation that could rupture later in my life.
All right. Now, as a side note, do you understand what that all means?
I do understand, that, I'd be more, it'd be better for me to try to resolve this issue now, instead of emergently later in life.
You realize that if that happened later in life, it would almost very likely be terminal.
It'd be
It would be more than a bad day. It would be like whatever.
It'd be huge blood, huge head bleed with neuro changes for sure.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Yeah. All right. Good. So let me ask you this: when it comes to hobbies, what do you do for hobbies now?
Now my hobby is just spend time with my wife and my mom and dad. Fishing. Mm-hmm. I like to fish, bass fishing.
Okay. So you're bass fishing. Okay. So what kind of boat do you have?
I have a Ranger, a Pro Craft, Ranger boat. It's all aluminum. It's a good boat.
Smart man, all aluminum. That's the way to go. What's the size?
The size boat is a 18 foot.
Mm-hmm. Good size.
With a 90 horsepower 4-stroke.
What are you, Suzuki, Yamaha, Honda? What are you looking at?
It's a Mercury 4-stroke, 90 horsepower.
Okay. And walk me through this. Are you a tiller? Are you a center console? Are you a pilot house? What do you got?
It's a console, 2 separate consoles. Yeah, it's not, no kind of center console. It's not, salt water for sure.
I gotcha. Okay. So how often do you take the boat out?
Not too frequently. It's been a while. I just got another boat. I just got a Hobie Pro Craft, a Hobie 360 drive Pro Angler, 14 foot.
Sure. That's your little boat. Kayak. That's for doing the little
360
stuff.
360 drive. It's amazing. Yeah, the Hobie 360 drive is amazing.
Okay. All right, now walk me through this. When you say 360 drive, what you're saying is it has a trawler.
No. My kayak is 360. It'll go frontwards, backwards,
Oh,
sideways.
okay.
It's
Yeah, I
really
gotcha.
amazing boat.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, I use the Old Town XL motorized.
Pedal drive.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
really
Okay,
nice.
gotcha. I gotcha. Okay, yeah. All right. So walk me through this. You go fishing, right? And how do you have a difficult time fishing because of your impairments?
I don't have a difficult time fishing. Not that I'm aware of.
So why
Can
couldn't you
fish.
be why couldn't you be a captain? Why couldn't you take people on a tour?
I wouldn't really want the responsibility. Having people, having so much responsibility in my hands.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Walk me through this. Why couldn't you do a simple job like a Walmart greeter?
Because sometimes I get frustrated and anxious, and certain little stupid things upset me.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm inappropriate sometimes with my method of reacting to it.
Talk to me about anxiety. What gets you anxious?
I just get irritated. Stupid stuff like watching the news right now. All this crap.
Yeah, I know. I don't understand it, and
yeah. We
So
gotta watch out what we say for sure.
yeah, exactly. That's the biggest problem I have with it is that people are afraid to talk about things anymore, which is terrible because the entire channel is created on the idea of helping people talk about their problems, which people can't seem to do anymore.
But you could be easily punished for something that you're misinterpreted for saying whatever.
Right. And then you lose all your sponsors, you lose your job, and your only option is cereal.
You have somebody hassling you all the time. Yeah, exactly.
Right.
So revenge on you.
Let me ask you this: when it comes to, for example, do you feel that you're getting better, or do you feel that you're getting worse?
No, I don't feel like I'm getting. I don't know. Maybe slightly better. But some of my issues are because of medical background. I know their chance of improvement is slim to none. Everything's stabilized, but as far as improving,
mm-hmm.
I don't really think it's no huge improvement, but it's stable. It's stable, not comfortable, taking care of having big responsibility with other people's life in my hands.
Now, with the TBI, talk to me about headaches.
Yeah, I don't really get headaches, thank goodness.
Okay. So what symptoms limit your ability to do a job in general?
My ability to stay focused and not forget or I don't know, staying focused as far as my priorities.
Mm-hmm.
What's highest priority, what's first, what's second step, third step, whatever.
Okay.
I don't know if that's good explaining it, but
do you feel like you're able to follow instructions that people give you?
Yes, sir. And especially if I can write it down and so I won't forget it. Yep. I mean, I can follow instructions. Especially simple instructions. Yeah. My mom and dad asked me to do something, I'll do it for sure.
What's an example of something they asked you to do that you complete?
Helping them move something or just being there, to help them, just moving something or around their house, rearranging something, I don't know. Tomorrow my dad wants me to bring the truck over to help him and a buddy go, I don't know, get a keg for their, tap, whatever, their beer thing,
mm-hmm.
Lifting it and helping them with that.
And do you think you'll have any issues with that?
Because I have a pickup truck.
Okay. So walk me through this. If you had a simple job where you just had to pick stuff up, put stuff down, delivery kind of gig, do you think you'd be able to do that part-time?
No, and I mean, I don't know, part-time, it's really hard to say, I could say no, but, I don't know what's the best answer for that. I'm not looking for a part-time or any job really, I'm not looking for any kind of work. I know there's a lot of people that's abused the system,
mm-hmm.
the disability, a lot of people in my previous, in medical background, I've known people that was their goal in life, is getting disability.
Mm-hmm.
And that's never been my goal in life. I wasn't planning on retiring at 50 years old, and not working anymore. I never had no plan of that. This accident happened and everything changed.
So why couldn't you do just a simple part-time job and then grow it based upon learning how to do it into a full-time job?
I lacked the interest of doing that, really, to be honest with you. I know that's not something to tell the judge, but, I'm just not interested. I don't have, I don't know. I'm not focused and that interested in doing that.
Why aren't you interested in doing that?
I don't know. Because, I don't know. I don't know. I need to have a better answer. I know, but because I'm,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not interested because, thank goodness for all my years nursing, I saved my money and I invested it. And now, financially I'm okay. I'm not, I know I'm very fortunate, but, I don't want to work.
Okay. So help me out with this.
I know that's not something to say to the judge.
Yeah, that would kill the claim for sure.
Yeah.
Okay. So help me out with this. When it comes to,
thank you for your insight. Yep.
Yeah. When it comes to,
Yep.
Being able to, do another job in the national economy, can you help me out with this?
Yes,
Is there some job that you would like?
No, sir. No real, no, teaching scuba diving,
That could be fun.
and I like scuba diving, I like scuba diving, spearfishing,
Sure.
but, I don't know. There's no real job I'd like to do.
Okay. Do you feel that, if you didn't have the head injury, that you'd still be working today?
Of course, yes, most definitely. I enjoyed my work. I really enjoyed helping people, seeing all the different, things I was, had the opportunity to see, and I enjoy helping people. I enjoy taking care of people. That part I did enjoy, and it was very rewarding, and that's why I really enjoyed it and loved what I did. It bothers me that I can't do what I used to do, but also it bothers me that if I did do what I used to do, that I'd be afraid I'd hurt somebody or forget something or just make a stupid error.
Well, okay. So a couple of things that I noticed is that you definitely don't want to be telling the judge that you don't want to work because you're not interested in it, unless you can tie it to how your interest in doing things is very low due to the head injury.
That's a much better way of putting it than, having no interest, basically.
So you have no interest for a reason. What about your impairment limits your ability to have interest in things like you used to?
Yeah, for sure. Yep. I never thought of it like that, but you're very, 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 you're very correct in that. I would assume maybe that my head injury has something to do with my lack of interest.
What seems to get you the most anxious or the most excited?
Watching the news, all this craziness.
Sure.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. That's the wrong answer, but I don't know.
Well, let me ask you this:
stupidity, people and their stupid behavior here.
What type of people seem to anger you the most? Bosses, coworkers, friends, family, or the general public?
No certain select group for sure. It all depends on what their actions are, and it's not any group of any. I guess probably I don't know the public. Seeing what I see. It's not my family or friends for sure. It's people I don't really know, most likely.
Okay. All right. So
we've. That was a good answer.
We've gone through a bunch of questions. Do you have any questions for me before I pop off and basically go to the next caller?
Yeah. No, I just want to say thank you so much for taking the time to answer my questions. I watch your videos all the time, I really, we are all gaining from what you've given us, and thank you for, I don't know, I look forward to hearing what you say about what, you heard from me and areas I need to improve on. And, we all appreciate you. Thank you so much. Really.
Absolutely, good sir. And thank you so much for the kind words. Any additional questions, don't be afraid to reach out to me, okay?
Thank you so much. You've done a great job. Thank you for all you give us. And, I know, speaking from more than myself, we all really appreciate you. Thank you so much. I hope you're rewarded greatly for doing this for us, financially or whatever.
Thank you, good sir. I appreciate it immensely. Have a wonderful night, and I'll catch up with you.
You do the same.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah. Thank you. I really appreciate it. This was great.
Excellent. All right.
Thank you.
Look forward
to hearing what you say on the video.
Perfect.
On the YouTube.
Excellent. Thank you, good sir. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay, guys. So that was a claimant who was extremely honest. And what I really liked about the honesty was that it kind of made me feel connected to his story. I think testimony shaping, to be able to go into the head injury, where it happened on his head, what type of pain he has, what type of loss of, or focus and concentration, difficulty with following specific details and steps to complete them. I think that it needs more development when it comes to the step limitation. So when we look at what a person can do, we look at, okay, can they do things that requires 1 to 3 steps, 3 to 5 steps, 5 to 7 steps, 7 to 9 steps, things like that. And I think what he was really getting across is that he felt very nervous about the medical field, because if you skip a step, you kill a person or could potentially harm them seriously. So joy that he used to have with helping people, likely due to the TBI, the brain injury that occurred. I think another thing that has to be more developed with the claim, is the understanding as to why specifically he's lost that interest in doing what he used to do. It sounds like he still loves people, but it doesn't sound like he wants to be in a high stress environment where there could be a potential issue. So I think there's also some potential there for mental review. Nothing to be ashamed of, obviously, but I think it's an individual that maybe gets anxious about certain things, or certain things key him up, or he feels like certain people don't understand him, or at least how it should be. And obviously with what's going on right now, a lot of people feel that way. But the reality is this, bottom line is that I think this claim is not just physical, as he was telling me about it, and he was saying physical. I think this claim is physical and mental. I think he feels like he's lost something with not being able to work. I think he bolstered the point that he feels good with himself because he saved. But I think that there's an inner feeling of loss from not being able to do what he used to do. And I think that comes through with a bit of perhaps, mood disorder and anxiousness, anxiety. And I think his claim would be stronger if he looked into those a little bit. But with that said, he was very direct and honest, which was I don't get that a lot. So that was a good feeling. That was a very good feeling. I take some claimants in front of the judges, and they're just so easy to connect with, and they're so truthful that they'll say something horrific. This wasn't one of those, but like I'll have a claimant that will say like, well, I used drugs 3 weeks ago. And they're just so honest about it with their abuse and use, but they have a plan, and they've been sticking to the plan, and they fell off the truck once, but they're sticking to the plan. That's kind of what I felt about him throughout that phone call. So I think, that was a very good call, and with a lot of good options to it. But I think a lot of testimony shaping can still go on there. So that was really, really excellent. So I really enjoyed doing that phone call. All right, guys. So it is later. I'm going to go check out what people are saying in the pop-out menu. How would awesome night, thank you, blah, blah, blah. How would neighbors know your business? Like calling, reporting you on display, like playing flowers, but not knowing your condition. Yeah, guys, the number one thing that neighbors call in for people in disability benefits are pavers and flowers. Those are the two things that they always call in about. You're out there working with pavers, or you're out there working with flowers. That's what they always call in about. Let's see. Thank you again for your time and knowledge. Thank you, good sir. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I have to finish this one remand brief. I want to do more phone calls. Next week, we will do more phone calls, and we'll keep it rolling. I am a little bit tired. I don't know if you can tell. My eyes are kind of red and glossed over from constantly reading all day and just working. But I'm at that point where I just need a break. So this weekend I might take a little bit more time off than I normally do. And I did last weekend as well, but I've just been so tired from what happened with Layla and everything. So I'm getting back on the horse. I'm working away. If you do have any questions, it's fine. Shoot me an email, give me a call. If you send me a massive amount of information to look at, I'll try to get to it as quickly as I can. But remember, if you send me something that's like 5,000 pages, I have to keep going back to it, reading a couple hundred pages, keep going back to it, because I got to write all these briefs before I review the stuff that if you're not a client of mine, I gotta help my clients first. But either way, have an absolutely wonderful night. I will catch you guys later. And from myself, from Shadow, and from Sweetie, who chewed up, I don't even know where she went. Oh. This is what happened. Waits for the green screen. That's what she did. Littered ground all over the place. Either way, I will catch you guys a little bit later. Have an absolute. Please let me know if you receive my emails. Okay, so hey, call me tomorrow and check in with me because I'm right now stacked. So a lot of the emails I'm getting from people, I have them, but I'm having to write lots of briefs. So I'm getting thrown off a little bit with that whole experience and trying to help people in the yada yada. I did 2 people that weren't my clients today with helping them. One was a wills trust and estates issue for a special disability trust, and the other one was a hearing issue. So I'm trying to do it all, but just keep in mind it's a lot. So either way, I will catch you guys a little bit later. Have an absolutely wonderful day, and I'll go from there and catch up with you guys later. All right. Have a wonderful night. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.